Hi, you are about to engage in the ELA Guidebooks unit, The Stories Julian Tells. The purpose of this video is to learn about the elements of a narrative or story. You will use this knowledge as you write your own narrative in the upcoming section of this unit. Be sure to have your handout available and something to write with for the video. A writer's job is to take the reader on a journey. How can I take my reader on a journey through my writing? Narrative stories include many different elements. In this video, you will learn about each part of a narrative, including a narrator, characters and setting, temporal words, dialogue, characters' thoughts, actions and feelings, and how to add a sense of closure. In the unit, The Stories Julian Tells, you will be focusing on a group of short stories told by your main character, Julian. This book will be used as a model in this video to highlight the important components of narrative writing. A narrator is who is telling the story. Let's read this excerpt from the book The Stories Julian Tells and think about who is telling this story. My father cracked some eggs and put the yolks in a pan and the whites in a bowl. He rolled up his sleeves and pushed back his hair and beat the yolks. "Sugar, please, Julian," he said, and I poured the sugar. In this story, the narrator is Julian himself. Characters are who the story is about. Let's read this excerpt from the story Julian Tells and think about who the characters are in this story. "Stand back," he said, smiling, and squeezed again. The seeds flew out on the floor. "Can you pick up those seeds, Huey?" he asked. Huey took the broom and swept them up. My father cracked some eggs and put the yolks in a pan and the whites in a bowl. He rolled up his sleeves and pushed back his hair and beat the yolks. "Sugar, please, Julian," he said, and I poured the sugar. Julian, his father, and Huey are the characters in this story. The setting is when and where the story takes place. Stories can take place at a certain time, such as during the day or at night. Stories can also be set in a specific place, such as a garden, a house, or a front or backyard. So now you are ready to answer this question. What is the job of a narrator? Pause this video to record your answer on your handout at stop sign number 1. Then hit play when you are ready to continue. The question asked, what is the job of a narrator? Your answer should have said, the narrator is a person who tells the story. Your story should include temporal words. Temporal words are words that help you understand when something happens within a story. In the stories Julian tells, Julian says, "After a while, one girl gave me a penny and I showed her my special cave boy teeth. Some of the other kids had missing teeth, but nobody had 2 teeth in one space like mine." Julian says, "after a while," to show when this interaction happened. Here are some examples of other temporal words and phrases. Dialogue is a conversation between 2 or more people. Writers use quotation marks to show when characters in the story are talking. Let's read an excerpt from the stories Julian tells and be on the lookout for when people are talking. "When we looked in the back seat of the car, there was a small tree with just a few leaves. We ran back to my father. 'A tree for a birthday present,' I said. 'A tree for a birthday present,' Huey said." The writer signals the reader that the characters are talking by using quotation marks. So now you are ready to complete this task. Imagine your story is taking place inside your classroom, and you are working on a project with a friend. Use this scenario to write a sentence that uses temporal words or phrases. Then write another sentence that uses dialogue. Pause this video to record your answers on your handout at stop sign number 2. Then hit play when you are ready to continue. Your task was to write a sentence that used temporal words and write a sentence that used dialogue. First, check your sentence for temporal words. Your sentence should use words that tell you when something happens in a story. Some examples include first, next, and last. Underline an example of a temporal word used in your sentence now. Next, check your dialogue sentence. This sentence should include quotation marks where the character begins and ends talking. Circle the quotation marks used for dialogue in your sentence now. Stories always include character actions, thoughts, and feelings. Actions are what the character is doing. Some examples are reading, jumping, running, and talking. A character's thoughts are what they are thinking about, but might not always say out loud. These will give you a window into your character's personality. Feelings can be seen through the character's actions and thoughts. Some examples of feelings could be happy, sad, mad, scared, or even worried. Now you are ready to answer this question. What are some actions that a character might do in a story? Pause this video to record your answers on your handout at stop sign number 3. Then hit play when you are ready to continue. The question said, what are some actions a character might do in a story? Your answer could include many different actions, such as cook, giggle, cry, play, eat, and scream. Closure comes at the end of your story. This is the part of a story where your writer will wrap up in an interesting or powerful way. For example, if my story starts with getting a puppy, but the puppy gets lost, the ending could be finding the puppy and bringing it home. The writer will let the reader know how the actions and problems within the story are resolved. Knowing about the elements in narrative writing will help you write a story in the upcoming ELA Guidebooks unit, The Stories Julian Tells. When you finish this video, please turn in your completed handout to your teacher.